The firestorms that are devastating the western U.S. and much of the world are unprecedented. Geoengineeringwatch.org wishes to express our deepest sympathy for those who have lost homes and property due to these fires. Even more tragic in some cases, the loss of loved ones. We're very grateful to the firefighters that are giving their all to battling these blazes. And we'll continue to hope that the climate engineering issue will be honestly investigated by every single individual that is affected, which is all of us.
These homes obviously burnt for an extremely extended time. They're down to the slab. Every form of combustible is gone. Burnt down to only non-combustible elements. Next to homes that, and you can see the side of this home, you can see how hot it got. The siding on the home is completely heat damaged, very, very visible. And the adjacent home that did not burn down, the siding is completely heat damaged, which means that a tremendous amount of heat radiated from this home that did burn down for an extremely extended period of time. The trees still standing as we would expect them to be standing. They're green trees, and although they will die now because their Cambrian layers have been damaged from the heat, the green wood within these trees does not allow them to catch fire and burn to the ground. Anybody that has tried to burn a completely green log knows this. So we would expect the combustibles on the homes that are dry, cured, dwelling fires burn much hotter than forest fires themselves, and that's what we see happening here. Continuing along Lake Redding Drive, the residence, perhaps that was her home. I'm going to stop and find out. We're still filming along Lake Redding Drive, burnt to the ground, house after house, the rear yards in some of these locations certainly fuel their fires that look like they burnt with considerable intensity, where we have trees on the slope that are completely burnt except for the larger core wood pieces that are green. Again, a green living tree does not burn to the ground. When have we ever seen a forest fire that leaves barren hills? There are always standing dead trees. That's to be expected. But certainly once one home caught here, the radiant heat, embers, with homes that were completely unattended, ignited home after home with adjacent homes, burning them to the ground, even sweeping across to the opposite side of the street. Homes here also burned to the ground, clearly unattended. Again, once one home started, embers flying everywhere, any combustible anything would have caught and had all the time it needed to continue that ignition process until nothing was left. This home's burnt completely to the ground. Lake Redding Drive again. If you look at the backdrop of trees where the fire clearly approached these homes, clearly burnt very, very hot. Adjacent car burnt completely. The forested area behind these homes burnt with what is clearly considerable intensity. And that radiant heat and embers again catching any home and any combustible anything. A lot of these homes are composition shingle roofs that do burn. Once those roofs are ignited, very difficult to put out. Redwood trees standing here. Redwood's very fire resilient. Although these trees will die, they don't readily burn because they do not contain pitch or sap. That's why redwoods live so long. Burn to the ground completely. This particular region on both sides of the street. Trees uprooted, burnt to the ground. This may have been where the fire needle came apart with the trees uprooted. But a lot of fuel in the slopes behind these homes that clearly was the segue of this fire to transition into the neighborhoods. Non-combustible roof, stucco walls, non-combustible home, and the house survived. So clearly we had an evacuated area, no one in attendance. Any embers that settled down on anything that was combustible would have started and had all the time it needed to burn, catch, and expand that burn throughout the rest of the dwelling. These homes clearly burned for a very extended period in time. Because again, structures are much more combustible. Everything within the structure is cured, dried. You tend to form a bellows effect through a structure fire because wind feeds through the lower openings, doors, windows, and then blows out the roof through vents. When the roof opens up from the fire, it expands that bellows effect even more, creating extremely intense heat within the dwelling. Burn areas across the street. This once a new pickup truck, completely incinerated. And again, once that radiant heat starts to catch portions of the vehicle on fire, and fuel tanks catch on fire, everything else burns to the ground. Both sides of the street. Completely incinerated. Dwellings, again, much more combustible than green trees. When the dwelling is close enough to greener trees, as we see at this location, those trees are burnt significantly down to the thicker core wood, again, that can't continue to burn because the wood is impregnated with moisture. Can't burn a green log. Try it on a campfire sometime to see how difficult that is. You can't do it. That's why these trees are still intact. Truly profound damage. Once one dwelling caught, the intensity of those burns catching contiguous homes on fire. Some perimeter, depending on the house you see behind, it's not burnt here. Tile roof, non-combustible, didn't burn. Another home burnt to the ground. Next to it burned to the ground, but you see the home across the street. I'll get closer. Non-combustible. Trees closer to the dwellings burnt very severely, but again, not to the ground. Green trees not going to burn to the ground. You see the home across the street. Non-combustible. Tile roof and stucco walls. Non-combustible, did not burn in spite of the homes around it burning. Really severe damage.
For nearly a decade, Geoengineeringwatch.org has tried to bring illegal and unimaginably destructive climate engineering, aka geoengineering operations, to light. The image shown is from a 2014 educational presentation by Geoengineeringwatch.org titled Engineered Drought Catastrophe Target California. The frontline data presented in this 2014 presentation made clear that the record firestorms would come. And for the record, indeed, they have. Illegal global climate intervention programs are the single greatest causal factor in regard to the record wildfires. The presentation in question can easily be found online. The climate engineers can and are creating short-term, highly toxic cooldowns in some regions at the cost of creating extreme temperatures and record wildfires in other parts of the world. Climate intervention programs are creating freeze-fry extreme and weather whiplash scenarios. Though anthropogenic damage to the planet and the climate system are inarguable, in the case of unprecedented drought and wildfires, climate engineering is the single greatest core causal factor. All available frontline data confirms this conclusion. Please investigate the critical climate engineering issue. This is Dane Wigington with Geoengineeringwatch.org.